We have Peter online, I hope, to tell us about how AMSAT-DL is doing and what's coming up on the AMSAT front in Germany at 50 plus 2 years. So welcome, Peter. You ready to go ahead?
Thank you, Barry, and hello to everyone. I hope you can hear me. Great. Yeah, sorry that I can't be there in person. Yeah, so I hope you had a good lunch and got your batteries charged for my presentation. It will be, yeah, dense as usual, but as Dave said before, for those who want to look deeper into the slides, there is always a pause button on the YouTube channel, or you can watch it later. So I hope you see my presentation. Good. So yeah, what's up at AMSAT-DL? So let's talk about satellite and signals. So I will deep dive just in the next slide here as well. So here we have the overview of some of our projects. Some we have marked with the heart those which are still active, OSCE 7 and OSCE 100. There's an anniversary, which I will show you on the next slide. It's already 25 years ago that we launched OSCE 40. So let me see how this works here. Okay, so yeah, AMSAT OSCE 40 launched in November 2000, almost forgotten. Indeed, it worked for 4 years. Unfortunately, it failed, but just came along those slides a couple of days ago and said, oh my God, it's already 25 years. I'm getting old. So anyhow, so there's another bird. OSCE 10 is back home, now in Bochum. Well, it's still in orbit, but we had a model, an engineering model in the Deutsche Museum in Munich. Unfortunately, or whatever, they have reorganized the exhibition and removed the satellite from it and wanted to put it into some sort of storage. They asked us if we want it back, and no, we said, yeah, we better want it back, and we put it in our place in Bochum. So you see on the right slides here, so the left slide is how it was looking in the Deutsche Museum, and here on the right side you see how we got it back, and we will put it. Those who have visited Sternwarte Bochum, the Bochum Observatory, know that we have some exhibition inside. We want to make it more related to satellites, not other things as well. So the model is now back in Bochum, and but the original satellite indeed is still in orbit. Another note is, yeah, SAO2, our well-known Qatar OSCE 100, is already 7 years in orbit. Launched in 2018. Transponder opening was in 2019. It all began, as you know, in 2012. It took a while until the launch, and that's also the topic then for our future geo discussion. During the colloquium, there was a question about the lifetime. Yes, we are half through, at least, but we have a projected lifetime of 15 plus years. So we still have at least 7 years from the design lifetime, but there is no reason why it could even stay longer there, or hopefully it will be healthy a little bit longer. So Q100 is very successful in several regards. Here I concentrate on school contacts, which is, I think, a very good idea to bring amateur radio into schools, get the school kids interested in our technology, in communication. So since 5 years, we have Charlie DK3ZL organizing these school contacts. And as you can see, we have already over 93 school contacts with DP0GVN in our books, mostly with German-speaking stations, but also foreign stations, Italy, Portugal, France, Britain, Austria, and so on. indeed there is room for more. So if you are interested in such kind of school tax with a really special station, just contact Charlie in the link shown below. So yeah, we had several operators there, so we are already in the seventh years coming. So we started 2020 with Roman, then came Teresa, Carsten, Markus, Jörg, Alex, and just this coming Monday we have the next operator training in Bochum how to operate Q100 and get some ideas and technical background about the satellite, how to operate it, and so on. So we hope there will be plenty of not only school contacts, also individual contacts. But keep in mind, the operators are there not for fun, at least not for vacation. So they have their daily regular business to do, but they can indeed spend also sometimes their free time if they want to make ham radio contacts. And in an agreement with the Alfred Wegener Institute, they also allowed their scientists and their people and the operator to practically operate these school contacts officially. And it's always fun to see how children really like these kind of contacts. It's still a very special place. And here I have show you a few photographs how to see how the children really get excited about that, and they are very proud actually. Like here, when they set up their station, even they have to find out, and that is part of their training in the school, to calculate how to calculate where is the satellite, where do I have to point the antenna, and how do I know the antenna is pointing in the right way, and so this is really a lot of fun for the kids. So our actual operator is Alex, Delta Lima 2 Alpha Lima Yankee, and apart from his Q100 activities, he also did EME. Maybe some of you already made contact with him. He had a container a little bit outside of the station. It is quite interesting. He is also a mechanical engineer, and he brought all the mechanical. He built all the antennas while he is there down there in Antarctica. So he put he took all the rods and what he need in the container. So every overwinter there has part of a container for personal belongings, and he actually sent some stuff to build his own antennas there. He had the rotator, but the rotator immediately stopped working due to the extreme cold. But nevertheless, he was able to do several EME contacts. Also, just a couple of days ago, he put up some antennas on the roof of the station to make contacts over RS-44. Indeed, very cold. It's not really seen here on the picture, but I heard it was something like minus 30 degrees or so. So he had some warm clothes, but the equipment was still operating. Also like to mention that we have a ZATNOC station down there. We built it last year and delivered it last year. So for VHF and UHF, practically based on some Raspberry Pis and these usual SDRs. So you find them, if you are aware of that, in the ZATNOC station under DP0GVN, VHF and UHF. The UHF station is working pretty well. We see a lot of good signals there, even at very close elevation, but we, at the moment, since 1 year, we have really bad noise on the 2-meter band on the VHF station, practically impossible to receive any signals. So since more than half a year or so, we are not receiving also any signals from FunCube. So it's very sad. They looked around, but they told me everywhere where they touch the station, they see this noise and they could not yet find out where it is coming from. It could be from scientific installations there. There are some radars, weather radars, and other stuff, high power stuff. So some sort of interference, which is a pity, but we hope to get that fixed next time the new crew is going down there. So Oscar Q100, Oscar 100 is here we see the footprint, and yeah, as you can see, it's nice for us here in Europe, also parts of Asia, parts of South America, but here indeed North America, US, Canada is not covered at all. And there's always been the question, can we do something? Yeah, will there be even a follow-up of Oscar 100? So in its own Oscar when Q100 SL2 was launched and we started operating the transponder for ham radio, it generated a lot of interest everywhere, not only in the amateur but also in the industrial community, because that was something they did not expect to happen, that amateurs will be able, even if it's a hosted payload, to have something in geo. So there was a lot of interest also from the side of ESA. So ESA initiated part of the Artist Future Preparation Program to to start a feasibility study regarding a future geostationary amateur satellite and how that could be done within the scope of ESA. So what we are looking here, what we are doing is something like a forward-looking feasibility study. It's not yet about building hardware, but building on the successes and lessons learned from the first geostationary amateur payload, the narrowband and wideband transponder on Q100. The goal is indeed to first define, then hopefully develop, and later on even probably build and ultimately launch the next generation amateur radio payload in geo orbit. So for that, we initiated this Future Geo initiative. Was initiated by ESA with cooperation with AMSAT-DL, and so we organized just a few weeks ago an international workshop in Bochum, but we already started very early this year to get, in principle, to get stakeholders on board to prepare for this study. It was not just about presenting, but it was really about getting down to the details. What do we need? What do we want? So, as I said, in September, we had this Future Geo workshop under the Radom in Bochum, organized by AMSAT-DL with support from ESA. And we brought together international experts, various representatives from organizations, not only AMSAT, amateur radio organization, or organizations technically interested. So we invited in spring, earlier this year, we invited potential interested parties to take part, to actively take part, and yeah, that's basically what we did. So this workshop was held as a hybrid event. We had about 25 participants from all over, Europe and practically the world. So we had people also participating from South Africa, from United States, and other places. So the workshop was not about presenting proposals like we did in the last 3 years. So there were a lot of proposals from various groups, but it was really to get down to the requirements. So what do we really want? Is there common sense? And so all the participants were expected to know the proposal from all the other parties, and then basically in a kind of workshop, collect, cluster, and prioritize the ideas. We had the professional moderator. He's not an amateur ham, but he is a well-known experienced science journalist in Germany, and also an RF engineer at least. So he know more or less what we were talking about. And so we diverted into different groups in the so-called World Coffee format to discuss all the topics in a rotating fashion. So yeah, so which communication service, which experiments should the new geo payload enable? We also discussed about payload and antennas. So what technical solutions, for example, phased arrays with controllable radiation lobes, multi-band uplinks, but also cameras for educational contribution, sensors, things like that. Also, ground stations. Um, there are always different possibilities, and also it depends what kind of mother satellite we have. So it's something between a hosted payload and if we have our own satellites. And then, in fact, user segment who should have access and how, what will be the simple entry level. I think cost effective. We all know that the combined S-band uplink, X-band downlink is really the easy satellite, the easy mode. There's a lot of equipment available to do that. So that is definitely something we will have, but also looking for school educational stations, something easy to use, but also high-end experiments in the millimeter wave range, like 24 up to 122 gigahertz. Also, there is the need to support analog and digital modes, maybe even some kind of IoT services. So classical linear transponder and regenerative transponder, software-defined transponder, all these are things we had to discuss. And yeah, yes, I thought I was missing something here, but so yeah, that was quite successful. We sat there together a whole day, and yeah, I think when we come to the conclusion and review and outlook of that workshop, I think everyone, it became very clear how much Q100 has revitalized and enriched the amateur radio community, especially in this area of affordable entry into microwave communication with low-cost SDRs and LNBs. Also, we saw a lot of developments, and we are still seeing that in open source software like DVB-S2 encoders and decoders for DATV. The school projects I demonstrated before, I shown before, is something we need to continue to get really more younger people. And we need to go even, if we start at university level, it's already too late. We need to engage these young peoples even in the lower classes, even in the kindergarten. We need to get their attention and interest if we want to attract them for, yeah, for RF, for communication and amateur radio. So yeah, so the next steps are very clear. So we still have to refine the outcome of the workshop that will be done within the next couple of weeks. Then we hope to get 1 to 3 consolidated mission concepts, which we will then present to ESA and see how this comes along. So as mentioned earlier today, ESA has indicated this budget is not there, but ESA has indicated that a budget of up to 200,000 euro could be allocated if it's not needed for something else in the future phase of this ARTIS program. So if the current feasibility study leads to continuation, hopefully we will be able to get the funding and build prototypes in and after 2026. So at the moment, we are not going to build any hardware. We are not going to launch any satellite yet. This is really still a study. And fun fact here on Q100, I have been sometimes asked, why did AMSAT not build the flight hardware for Q100 itself? That answer is very simple. It was due to insurance and liability. So a project like Q100, like SHAO2, let's better say, the whole satellite, such a geo satellite typically is in the range of 300 to 400 million dollar, at least those big ones. That includes the launch costs. And we face the situation that no insurance company would be willing to, to give us the insurance at the price which we could afford. So uh, we could have taken the risk, but then even I would have been personally responsible if something goes wrong, if we damage the main satellite or whatever. So still, this was a win-win situation for AMSAT because principally Mitsubishi built all the modules according to our system design. They were responsibility and guarantee the planned service lifetime, not only for the whole satellite, but also for our amateur radio payload. And we may face a similar situation if we go as a hosted payload again on a commercial satellite, if it's a real commercial one, if it's something sponsored by ESA, chances might be higher. So let's see what will come there. Another topic, if we talk about signals, is indeed, I hope every one of you heard about this AST space mobile thing in the 430 to 440 megahertz band. So that was a big threat, and still is a big threat to amateur radio. Um, because what they are planning to do is to do telemetry and tracking and command in the 70 centimeter amateur band, not only in the amateur satellite band, in the whole amateur radio band. So um, I always want to say this because some people think, oh, it's only about amateur satellites, so who cares? No, no, the whole amateur radio is under danger here. These AST space mobile satellites, their commercial use is 5G, direct to phone. So you will be able to make phone calls with your standard iPhone or whatever you have directly over the satellite, even in areas where you don't have a local terrestrial network. So they are not going to do 5G mobile stuff in our band. As I said, it's for telemetry and tracking and command. And it's interesting because that already started a little while ago. And it's only outside of US. So AST requested this 430 to 440 megahertz band for non-US emergency TT and C communication. So emergency is not about emergency in case of someone had a problem, threat to life. It's emergency telemetry. So it's space to Earth and Earth to space. So it's not only that the satellite is transmitting to Earth, it's also that command stations on the ground will be transmitting to the spacecraft. And on the right side, we see one good example of SatNOX. This is actually our ground station in Antarctica. And you see here in the middle that it was a signal transmitted from Blue Walker 3 on 437.500 megahertz. So even over Antarctica, so they were transmitting for almost 3 years continuously, and not a lot of people really noticed. So this goes back to September 2022, when actually I personally first notified the IRU that Blue Walker 3 is transmitting on those frequencies in the amateur satellite band or amateur satellite service. So the Blue Walker 3 was actually one of the first test satellites from AST. Interesting, it was filed, the ITU filing was done via Papua New Guinea administration. So maybe that is something for FunCube as well. If you want to avoid all the struggle, go somewhere to these islands. The platform, the CubeSat platform they use for controlling the satellite and for the communication to ground was built by Nano Avionics in Lithuania, and now it's Kongsberg. That company is known, I think, for a lot of CubeSats, also for universities, for commercial, and as you know, most of the CubeSats use the UHF band for TT and C, but the problem here is now we have TT and C for purely commercial satellites, so that's a big problem. If it's only one, okay. If it's probably something which is not such a big threat, and we can more or less live it. But the problem is in January, AST announced that there will be 5 more so-called Bluebird satellite, and AST already requested operation again in the amateur 430 to 440 megahertz band. And also the FCC confessed that this band is traditionally not within the ITU assigned classifications for amateur satellite service. They granted the permission because US is not affected, no? So the problem is only outside UF. So don't care about the rest of the world, obviously. There are ground stations in Argentina, Australia, in Europe, it's Bulgaria. In Bulgaria, it's Vinograd. There are other stations as well. So once that became evident, again, I informed IAU, I informed the local club here in Germany, but no reaction. In September, they were finally launched and they started to operate. And using the SATNOC systems, we made a lot of observations, in fact, but still no reaction, as I say. In June 25, FCC accepted for filing again. So it started with 1 satellite, then we had 5. Now we are coming to see more than 200 satellites. So in June 25, AST sent a filing to FCC to request a 248 satellite constellation, and their goal was again to use the 430 to 440 megahertz band for telemetry and command. In July, FCC was asking for comments on the above filing. AMSAT-DL practically started to comment and started discussion in the social media, and it was rocketing there, which is good. So this topic really got a lot of attention within a couple of days. We saw over 2,500 comments and petitions only within a few days and weeks. So there was an online portal at FCC where individuals, organizations could put comments and petitions regarding the request from AST. It even got a lot of attention in various media like PC Magazine, which reported on it. Finally, as things started to really get attention, finally we also saw IAU commenting this. IAU communicated its position also to their member societies worldwide and encouraged everyone to engage with the respective regulation and to inform their members accordingly. So the point here is also very important. If you don't report interference, then nobody can do anything against it. So, yeah. In August 25, so only 1 month later, after there was really a kind of shitstorm also in the social media, AST finally replied, but that reply was very high-nosed. They replied what they called to skinny public notes or note comments. And they used the skinny public note comments phrase several times, and we found it, yeah, very high-nosed and arrogant if they refer in that way to over 2,500 individual submissions. I think most of them were very well written and really in the right place. So that was a little bit dismissive and inappropriate. And In the second letter, I also mentioned that, and not only that it was inappropriate, they even made false claims and also suspicious timing of the Blue Walker 3 shutdown. So when we started complaining, and we even sent a report to the German Bundesnetz agency, within 1 or 2 days, suddenly Blue Walker 3, after it operated 3 years, shut down. It was very obvious. Why? Because they feared that they will get real interference report filed through the local regulation organizations. So it was a little bit strange, and still is. In September, then the FCC reacted on all this. So FCC had to read probably nearly 2,500 comments and petitions, and I think they understood it's not that easy as they might thought about it. So at least FCC imposed clear limits to AST for the upcoming launches. So they are, in the next few months, they are going to launch 20 of their 248 Bluebird satellites. And it was also interesting to see that, in fact, AST made a comment on their website about minimizing radio frequency interference and finally recognizing amateur radio operators at least. So the right picture here is from their website, and it's about amateur radio protection. Well, it's still a little bit funny. Why did they use amateur radio band at all? Because there are other bands available. I keep saying we have, I don't know how many 10,000s of Starlink satellites in operation. They can do the same thing, and they don't need amateur radio bands for that. Anyhow, so I have to get quick. There's a lot to read about it. You can read that in various forums and medias. Come to our webpage, and you will find the links. Anyhow, at the moment, I have to say for now, this is limited to 20 satellites. Also, FCC allowed them only to operate for 24 hours during what kind of emergency or LEO operations they need. And they can only use the 5 frequencies which have already been published. So these 430.5 and so on. You can read this everywhere. So we have to see what comes out. And as I say, if we don't complain, we might have the band full of commercial satellites if that goes through like that. An interesting part, maybe on the positive side, how can we make a positive use of these satellites? The new generation will have a phased array antenna surface with 223 square meter of reflector. It's like a metallic reflector. So how about 70 centimeter satellite scatter? I'm sure there are people among the audience which are doing meteor scatter or tropo scatter. There's also airplane scatter, so you can use aircraft as a reflector. So how about doing satellite scatter? So this has already been done. So it's about the reflection of the radio signal on the metallic structure or surface of a passing satellite. So this is totally passive reflection. It has been done already on ISS by some people with smaller antennas with 200 watt on 145 megahertz. It should work nicely on 435 megahertz as well. And yeah, maybe some people are interested when these satellites are up to also try a satellite scatter. And indeed, the published frequencies are probably the best frequencies to use for that. Well, what else about signals? It's a while ago that we have done Voyager 1. That was our best DX ever. It was in 2006 when when Freddie, Hartmut, Achim, and James mainly, and some others, I was also somewhere around, but they did the main work, have been able to receive Voyager 1 at a distance of 14.7 billion kilometers, 99 astronomical units, which was indeed a big record. So the equipment was completely analogous, more or less, with a ISO receiver and then having audio digitizer and then some software. So very old-fashioned. This is the official QSL card we got from JPL in Pasadena. So the thing here on the right in this red thing here was a kind of poster we sent to them. They sent it back with a photo of their flight team. And this poster is still just, this photo is from the summer, still in their Voyager team meeting room. So it was nice to see it there. Where's Voyager now? For some reason, okay, here it is. I don't know why it was doing that. So Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 were launched in 1977, and today Voyager 1 is about 25 billion kilometers away. Imagine the round trip time is more than 46 hours. So it takes practically one day to the spacecraft, and the answer takes another day to come back. And so Dwingelow radio telescope, I think was it last year? I don't remember. No, December last year, Dwingelow had repeated that. So they also received Voyager 1, and Thomas Teelkamp, who was coming to our symposium and also for the workshop, called me and said, "Hey, Peter, well, shouldn't we try again also in Bochum after those long time?" And I only need three cables. I need the power supply. I need the signal, the RF signal from the antenna, so from our converter, and I need the 10 gigahertz reference. So here we have a completely digital setup based on Ethos B210 SDR, and then this complex software chain, which Thomas knows better than me. I have no clue about all the details here, but he brought his own laptop. It's sitting here, and here is a little B210. So I said, yeah, why not come and we find some time in the lunch break and we will set it up. So we did. And after a few minutes, we have been able to receive Voyager 1 again in Bochum with a very good signal, in fact, and also the measurements comply with the models, so everything works well. So it was quite fascinating to see this. And Achim, the H2VA, who was part of the original team a while ago, he said, the fact that we have been able to repeat this after almost 20 years with the push of a few buttons is a testament to the continuous upgrades and maintenance of all involved. And it was really funny because for later on, Thomas and me, we realized when we saw the signal on the laptop, we said, oh, yeah, it's working, nice. And the people around us were just crying, and we realized for us, it's already something normal. For us, it's a commonplace. But for the rest around us, it was totally crazy to imagine that we were still able to see Voyager 1, which I said is even further away now. So remember when we did that in 2006, it was at 99, almost 100 AU. We are now at 169 astronomical units. So we have something like 2 or 3 dB less signal. So that was good to see. From the big ones to the small ones, we decided to have a look into the pocket cubes, and in 2022 we got the possibility to launch for for launch opportunity to get some rocket cubes with Rocket Factory Augsburg into orbit. So we started in 2022 when we got this award for the Microsoft payload competition. Then we hope to launch in 2024. Now it looks like we will be going to launch in 2026. So practically from the biggest to the smallest, we are talking about something with 250 gram instead of 650 gram, like kilogram, like Oscar 40, and we are talking something which is only 5 by 5 by 5 centimeter. So the first AMDAS mission will launch 7 pocket cubes. 2 of them are 1.5 pocket cube, 1.5 P Q standard size. All the rest are 1P. So we have 3 AMINAS satellites and 2 satellites from Spain and 2 satellites from the Libre Space Foundation. Here in the last 2 lines, those will not be operating on amateur radio band. These are funded by ESA for spacecraft identification and localization techniques. But yeah, so these will operate in the VH and UFH band respectively. We have this Picobus deployer, which was developed by Libre Space, and also they provided for us practically to get that thing into orbit. I will go here a little bit quicker because I see I'm running out of time. So it's nothing special. These satellites are very small. So basically we have this sensor module in the spacecraft. This sensor board contains the well-known radiation sensor for BG51 for radiation measurements. We also have some IMUs, magnetometer, gyroscopes, accelerometer, where we want to do some measurements and also see is it possible some way to get some attitude information. We built a small clean room in Bochum under the radome. Here we have Tillmann and Patring. Those are the main contributors. They are really working hard on the hardware and software for AirMinas. And it's a lot of work. It's also a lot about testing. Even like the big ones, you have to shake them. You have to make shock tests, even do the bake-out tests. Then we did the testing in Madrid. Thanks to AMSAT Spain and Space, we have been able to do that at the Universidad of Politécnica de Madrid, where we put all the satellites into the deployer and do all these shaking tests. That was very successful. In parallel, we built this ground segment in Bochum with the antennas, ground station, and even the mobile station is under construction. So our LEO station will cover VHF, UHF, and SHF band. There's work going on the mission control software. It will be based on an open software framework called YAMX. I don't know if I spell it correctly. Whatever it is, how you spell it, all the software will be available as open source, and we will also make it available to receive telemetry from AirMinas and even send commands to it to retrieve images, for example. Well, here a few more pictures. That was August last year. Practically we were ready for launch, but then oops, in August, just one day before we wanted to ship our payloads to Saxaford, the first stage of the rocket had a mishap, and we are still suffering from the delays. So we hope to get AMINAS 1 with Rocket Factory Augsburg launched next year. Also for next year, we have launch opportunities for AirMinas 2 and AirMinas 3. So we started only with a few, and then came all these launch opportunities where we could not say no. So AirMinas 2 is a rideshare mission on Falcon 9 SpaceX with UIRX in Spain as a broker. Also, we have the AirMinas 3 mission in preparation, which will launch from Kourou. Hey, nice. going back to Kourou. Those who know me know why. So this will be with PLD space. It's also another small rocket company from Spain. Yeah, and talking about deep space, intuitive machines, I have to go quickly because I think I'm already here the limit. So intuitive machines, we received IM1, we received IM2 in Bochum. We were supporting Epic Aerospace Chimera Geo-1 mission. It was actually supposed to be a Geo mission, but it ran past the moon even further. We were supporting receiving the signals. We even had the founder coming to Bochum. We hope maybe in future there is an opportunity to put something on their missions. We were supporting the Blue Ghost mission landing. Here you can see all these Doppler shifts and how the signals got reflected on the moon surface. We were supporting Astroforge Odin mission with a live stream, and in fact, we or even I were the only ones to receive the signals. Everyone was so excited that even Astroforge put our Bochum stream into their own live stream. So they were very thankful for all the data we could provide. Yeah, Hakuto mission. Now the Artemis mission is coming up. That is a mission we want to support as well. Um, Originally, we even planned to put a 12U spacecraft on it. Unfortunately, wasn't possible to do in time. We had visitors from China, so the famous Harbin Institute of Technology with a group of professors and students came to visit Bochum. Those are the people who built Longzhang 1 and 2, also LILACSat amateur radio satellites. So Longzhang were also known as DSLWP with amateur radio payload flying around the moon. And there's something coming up with Tianwen 3. We hope to work together and put some CubeSats even into Mars orbit. So I think that's enough. As I said, the slides will also be available, I guess. And yeah, there's a lot of things going on in Bochum, and I hope there's more exciting news for next year. Indeed, we hope to get Erminas 1 launched, and we all hope for that going to go successfully. And yeah, let's see what comes up in the near future. You can follow us on the social media as usual. And with that, I would like to thank you for your attention. Hope you enjoyed it, and wish you a good afternoon.
Thank you, Peter, from everybody over here. Fascinating trip round, bit of history, and I'm looking forward to the future, which is very exciting. Do you have time for a couple of questions?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, Pete. It's Jen, G4HIZ. With regard to your paper satellite analysis for the follow-on for QO100, you've got 47 West. What were the driving factors behind that location?
Oh, Barry, could you please repeat the question? I did not hear it.
Sorry.
Well.
With regard to the paper satellite, I call it analysis for the follow-on for QO100, you're looking at an orbital location of 47 West, which automatically will cover North America, which means we'll have a very different operational scenario to what we've got today. So what were the driving factors that led you to use 47 West as the analysis point?
Well, the 47 West is indeed something where we thought it would be great to have it there. And another reason why ESA would support that is because Canada is part of ESA. I think that is the main driver here. But honestly, yeah, coverage from 47 West is something which would be ideally to practically connect North and South America with Europe and Africa. If it will be really there or if we can get it there is still open. This is something where we said, okay, we had Q100 basically covering Europe, and it would be great to have something covering North and South America in a better way. But as I said, this is not guaranteed. At the end, it depends what kind of flight opportunity do we get. Where can we put our satellite, or where could we put our hosted payload on?
Thank you, Peter. Is there time for one more question? Anybody else want to raise? No? No. In that case, can I say on behalf of everybody here, Peter, thank you very much indeed for a fascinating presentation. Can everybody show support in the usual way?
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Peter.